Welcome to Blank Pages, the podcast, a podcast for people who appreciate the new beginnings of a clean slate, but strive for the courage, willingness, curiosity, and creativity available only on the blank pages of new possibilities. It's the potential to move beyond and move forward where people are willing to make new decisions from fresh perspectives and are ready to write in a much better way. The world is waiting and nothing listens better than a blank piece of paper. So, hey, welcome to the show. This episode is actually coming up late. It's coming up later than when I normally want to put them out on Tuesdays, but it's because, man, I've been very, very productive doing some things. I've been out and about, working with some amazing folks, and really just, man, I've just been on like really learning, continuous learning. Really learning. I've got my community launched, at least the beta side of the new community, and I am pretty pumped up, about what's going on. And I must say that I am pleased. Got to perform the ceremony for our son who just got married, that passed after the hurricane. So much has been going on. And, but all I can tell you is I am grateful and I am thankful and my heart is full. And if you notice, I'm wearing my new Girl Dad hat. It's on here that I have today, Girl Dad. And man, this hat is awesome. So they got the new one that came out. It's got the pink little button on the top. Underneath, the bill is pink. I got one for our son, our oldest, who I have my second grandchild coming, and it's going to be a little girl. So I bought him a Girl Dad hat. So got the little boy grandson, right? And got the girl, the granddaughter coming. And man, I am so excited about that. So yeah. Thank you for listening to the show. And for those of you who have subscribed already, thank you. If you have not and you're listening to it right here, it's real simple. Somewhere in your app, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, whether it's Amazon Music or Substack, or if you're on Odyssey or Audible, just follow the show. And if you would rate and review the show, I would love it. Share it with other folks. I'm going to only put out there stuff that I believe has shelf life and will be useful to help you along the way in your journey. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about things I don't know. I'm just going to inspire you. I'm going to do my best to speak inspirationally toward your aspirational self. So that we're all in the process of hopefully becoming and improving, and that is what we are doing with our lives. I am in the studio, and one of these days I'm going to kind of show you around here. But I decided not to be in my other room, but I'm sitting here and it's a little congested behind me. But you see my hi-fi, brought my turntable back in and got some records sitting there with my speakers, which have to go up. On the wall over here, I've got guitars over this way, got my reel-to-reel right there where I love to listen to my old school music. But also what I do is I like to dump music down that I create and stuff that I do, and I like to put it on tape. Man, tape sounds awesome. So kind of in a way, this is like a little show and tell as I'm sitting here talking with you. So, so many great things going on. Also, I will be letting you know the newsletter has not been going out consistently, and that's on me. That's on me. So I was reminded that I haven't gotten it out because I haven't given them stuff to put in it. So anyways, the newsletter will be coming out, and it's so important for you to know. So we're in the month of October, the very end of October. November and December, I'm going to be, as I'm wrapping up the beta of my community, I'm going to start opening it up to showing people about this community and inviting people into it to be involved. And if you are interested, go to my Instagram, go to @TimPecoraro, click on the newsletter, and then you will see, we'll just sign up for the newsletter, but we're also going to put a link in there that you're interested in the community. So I am going to make it a note to get it on there that you can click on there, put a link, and that you will be able to sign up to learn more about this community and be a part of the presentations that I will do. They'll be live. They'll be on probably LinkedIn through LinkedIn and Instagram, or there'll be a link that you'll come through via one of those two channels, but I will host it probably within the community. So you'll be able to see this community, be inside of it, and experience it that way. So, yes, I can't wait for you to do that. I cannot wait for you to see what I'm building. And if you're interested in growing and learning and developing and becoming a getting better at being human, if you're wanting to raise your standards, create clarity and raise your standards and embrace your call to and for more, this community very well may be for you. So what I'm going to do is I am going to jump into a topic that's real simple, and it's around vision. And what I see is so many times that people are having a very hard communicating. It's because they're not very clear on what they're actually saying themselves. So what I would like to do is just kind of put a picture of helping you embrace being able to communicate vision better. And this is just going to be a simple thing. A simple thing. I want you to have the ability to communicate better. And it's a simple thing. And it's a version that I believe that I use all the time. It's a way of helping people to see it. And it's a version or an approach that I use that help people. And it's a help to people to invite people into vision better. So I like it to be highly visionary, okay? 2 qualities that I always look for, and to be highly practical. And it's practical enough to help people to see what it is that you're doing. So the reason I'm doing that is because I was just in Atlanta, Georgia with, thousands and thousands of people. And you can see the difference between people who communicate and paint a picture to where you can understand it, and those who communicate and you hear all the things, but you don't see how you really fit into it. Also, just being on the floor and being able to talk. And I spoke with some massive brands, communicating with these brands and telling them the things that I do. And it was really great to have these opportunities, but to when they realized that when I was talking to them, one of the feedback that I would get was, wow, you're helping me see myself in it. And that was the thing. So of course, because of that just opens the door for more conversations, further conversations, and further opportunities and future opportunities. And I was doing that to help someone else accomplish that for themselves. So I was literally there able to demonstrate what I'm going to talk to you about a little bit. Okay. So there's any time that comes to vision, like a lot of people are going to always talk about what. So if I tell you about what I did, if I tell you what I do, if I were to say, let's just say I'm going to go to Greece, or I tell you I went to Greece, and in Greece, I wore linen all day, white linen or off-white. And I slept outside. And the reason I slept outside is because in the place that I was able to stay, the very top, it was an outdoor space that had the bed out there, and you just had linen curtains that went all the way around, or drapes that were sheer, and you could feel the breeze and you could smell the ocean. And so I can use words to paint this picture, but I'm talking about me. And I could talk about the food that I had, the baklava, and that I had some just incredible Mediterranean food. And then I met some great people, and there was an incredible music, and I got to dance and all those things. But that's me talking about me. And then what I did, and you can visualize it, you can see it, I can describe it. I can maybe describe the food to where you can taste all the way down to the spice that I would speak about. But then what if I say to you, but I want to take you there? Now the hurdle is you have to start imagining, if I were to say, I'm going to take all of you to Greece and we're going to do the same thing. And you're interested. And so you say, yes, Tim, let's go. So you start working on picturing doing the things that I did, but then you try to move yourself there. But what if I were to say, I want you to do these things, but I don't sit there and talk about me. I start off by going, hey, audience, here's what I want. I want you to imagine yourself in linen. I want you to imagine yourself going to a place for relaxation and rest. And we're going to have fun. And we're going to discover art and culture. And then what you're going to do in those is you're going to have conversations with people that are so different. And if you're interested in these things and you're curious about learning about others and other cultures, you're going to be able to meet a fantastic people, a Greek people that have so much history. And their food and their cuisine is just unbelievable. Because I love Mediterranean food. That's just me. I love it. And then I talk about the pastries, and I talk about the music, and I talk about all these things that you are going to do. So what it does is it literally helps you close a gap from talking about me and what I did that you could look at and hope to do, to me talking about you're going to get to do and seeing yourself in it. It's me helping you to be able to see yourself in a picture. And really what I want to do is help you with vision by helping you paint a better picture. And when you paint a picture for people, especially if it's coming to leadership or you're trying to get people involved in what you do, you have to show the person in the picture. Too many times we describe, like I can sit here and tell you about the room. If you're listening to the podcast, over my shoulder, there's a reel-to-reel and there's guitars and all these things. So if you're watching on video, you're able to see what I'm talking about. And then you can imagine it and you get a vision. Well, remember, a lot of times we don't think about the fact that people are using their minds to illustrate and to create the very image of the thing that you're trying to invite them into. So practical ways that you can paint people into a picture is you have to be mindful of them. You have to be mindful of who you're speaking to. You have to know something about them. You can't just walk up to a rando and then just say, okay, well, anyone would like to go do this. People like vacation. People like going on. You can't just do it that way. So the best thing to do is not, back to Greece. It's not me just talking about Greece and that you would like to go on vacation. Well, let's break that group down. What if it's people that I know that like to go on vacation, but they're curious? Let's break it down even further. They like to go on vacation and they're curious, but they're curious about culture. Not just further, but they're curious about culture. And they're also curious, let's just say biblically, places that biblical times where the early day apostles would go, where Paul went. And you, like anything that you can do to continue to break it down and speak to where a person is. So part of it is you have to know your audience. You have to know who you're speaking to. Okay, so because I want you to be highly visionary, I want you to be highly practical in what you're doing in your vision to be able to paint a picture that other people will buy into, that they will want to become a part of. So there's the 1, 2, 3 simple, which is, when you go to paint a picture and you want to invite people into the picture, it's why. Right? You want to get the mission. Like, what's the mission behind it? Because it provides a purpose for people. It lets them know why you're doing this. What's the purpose behind it? And then from there, give them vision. That provides a picture. Let them see it, right? That's like what it is we're talking about. And then ultimately, if you can talk about the strategy, the ABCD of it all, that's going to provide a plan. It lets people see themselves in it. So if you can give them mission, which provides a purpose, if you can give them vision, which provides a picture, and then you can show them the strategy or the moving pieces and parts, that's going to help them see a plan. So you can answer why, what, and how. And that's going to be a great start for you to invite people in to this picture. What is the activity? What's the thing? I see leaders all the time coming in and speaking at their people. Or what they'll do is they'll talk about what they want to accomplish, but they don't paint the people they're speaking to into the picture. It's all you're doing is when you speak, you can speak to hopes, and that's it. And hope is not a strategy. And a lot of people struggle with vision because of the way their lives currently look, because of disappointments and other things that they may doubt themselves now because they bought into an idea, they believed something because they thought they had it understood, but then maybe they get into the middle of something and they find out that it's almost like a buyer's remorse, that what they thought it was, it's not. And then they start blaming themselves. Well, I believed this before and look what happened, or I don't know how to ask the right questions, or like all that pressure is put on people. When you want to take people with you to go somewhere and to do something, and when you want to include people, take the pressure off of them of having to try to figure out what it is you are inviting them into. You want them to be free. You want them to be able to step into that picture unfettered and ready to come in and be fully on board and involved. And then, yes, they can ask questions that actually deal with other details that are going to be around how they can contribute better, how they can be more involved, how they can help increase results or make a better outcome. Like, you want to unburden them, not just fluffy words, which you listen to politics, people will say anything to get elected. They will say whatever. They'll change their mind. They'll change their opinion just to get in office. People just talk. So, of course, you can get people to vote and to do these things because of that, but you can't change anything after. You can change your mind, but you got to wait 4 years, and by that time, you've forgotten what's happened. Let's push all that aside, and let's get down to what I've been experiencing with people in politics, because I coach people there. I coach people in business. I coach people that are just in everyday life, and athletes too. I mean, you name it. I have the privilege of working with those folks. And the key is it's getting them to answer questions in themselves, right? That's what you do. Powerful coaching is not about instructing them. It's about asking powerful questions, being there with a person as they also figure it out and solve and answer those questions for themselves. And then you ride along with them. You're a ride-along partner. Okay, I ride along with empathy and authority. It's so amazing how I see all these people changing their terms on Facebook and LinkedIn and all these things of what they are. They went from, well, I'm a guide now and I'm this and I'm that. It's, you're still trying to figure out what it is that you're doing. Just get down to the purpose, get down to your why. Again, when you have a mission, right? And you know the mission of what you're waking up for every single day. What's the mission? That's going to provide your purpose. Your why will be clear. So you don't need to have a title to help people understand you. You just function. Believe me, when you function the way you are, when you communicate the way that you're supposed to, when you communicate that's in alignment with the thing that you ultimately want to accomplish, people get the answers they need from you. They don't need to read it. And most of the time when they're reading it, they run into something contrary half the time anyway. Because sometimes, or a lot of the times as humans, we find ourselves flopping around on everything as we're trying to figure it out, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not ideal. So back to painting pictures for people. How do you invite them into the picture? And it's not going to be the beauty of your language. It's not how perfectly you say it. It's how well you let them see themselves in it. It's how well you know the audience of who you're speaking to. It's, have you taken the time to hear who they are and how they show up? Do you know what they're curious about? Do you know what they dream of? Do you know their aspirations? Have you asked those questions? Or is it just, I know people want this, so let me throw it up and see who comes out and joins it? I mean, it's kind of like, I know people are going to eat, so all I have to do is put out a restaurant. But if I want a sustainable restaurant and a successful restaurant, I need to know what kind of cuisine I'm going to have. How often? Is it affordable? Where's my restaurant going? There's a lot more that goes into it. But beyond bricks and mortar, when it comes to everyday life, to get people involved and being able to influence people for the better, to be able to get involved or to be active, we've just got to get better at painting people in to the picture that we are trying to present. So I've had the opportunity of walking people through this and helping people straighten out their vision, their picture that they're painting. So I want you to, I'm just going to give you a few things to take away. So in order to paint a good picture, you're going to have to be stewards of the vision, a good steward of a vision. So hopefully you're not just spouting off and just grabbing at stuff and throwing it out there and hoping people get involved. But if you truly have a vision that you're trying to invite people into and you want to include others, I'm going to give you 4 things to make sure you do and be a great steward of. Number 1, make sure you communicate clearly. Do your best to be clear. It doesn't have to be the most amazing vernacular. Just be clear. Be simple. You don't have to be clever. That's the other part. If you have the choice between clarity and being clever, choose clear over clever all the time. So, and clarity will always trump persuasion. You won't have to spend your time trying to persuade people. Just be clear. The second is be creative. If you know your audience and you're talking to them, allow yourself to be creative with how you communicate the vision. Do your best to connect with them directly. Real direct connection. Connect to them. Say, hey, I am not just going to talk at them. I'm going to connect with them, and I'm going to be creative about it. So here's an example. A good friend of mine, 30-plus year friend, And I wanted to talk with him about something, and I wanted to talk to him to see if we could be aligned and be in harmony. And so one of the ways I did it is I took him to lunch, and I began to just talk with him about music, and we're both musicians. And then I talked about the tension of guitar strings and how you can tune it by using harmonics, natural harmonics. And so by doing it, you get a dung dung woo 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 woo. You can get a waver, and okay. So you kind of do this natural harmonic thing, and then as you adjust the tuning peg for the appropriate string, you have one string that you know is where it needs to be, and then you, with a harmonic, check the next string, and then as you are tightening the tension or loosening, depending on where it is, you will hear it that it slows down. It moves from really fast, and the vibration slows down to where it is in alignment, and you hear the harmonic without the vibration. And so I talked with him about tuning all the 6 strings of a guitar in order to play a song. And so I talked to him about that as it relates to who we are as people and getting our lives in order like that. And because I started off by being creative and showing him how I wanted him to be involved with something around tension and how we helped to fix the tension and illustrate it in a way that it took away all of the speculations and questions and where's he getting to. He was curious, speaking to him in love. So I was creatively pulling my friend into something. And that was the beginning stages of our friendship at that time. Until we're now 30 plus years later, here we are, and we're very, very close. But it was being creative and being clear with what I was ultimately trying to present, which was this mission, this purpose, the why. And then I was able to move into the vision, the what. And then from the what, I was able to get into the strategy, the how. So the third thing is, first is clear, be clear, speak, steward and communicate clearly. Second is creatively. The third is continually. This is an ongoing thing. When you're working with people, you need to always be the chief reminding officer. I always say to people, always remind people. It's very important. It's not to insult intelligence, but it's always remembering, what are we here for? What are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish? Because we all get weary in our well-doing. So do it continually. And then the fourth is, we must live the vision ourselves. So don't be a person who talks about all the things and that you're just a point. Don't point people. Don't invite anyone into a picture and all you do is you talk about it. Again, that's you talking about a picture and not inviting a person into a picture, especially a picture that you've never been in for yourself. You need to try to be a person that you're in that vision. You must be living that vision yourself. Now, here's the thing. It's okay for you to be uncertain in some of the things about the vision. So that's the other part. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to invite people and wait until it's perfect to invite them in. You can have uncertainty. And that's why it's important for you to live this thing, because if you live it, okay, here's the thing. Uncertainty is just basically an indicator or the light that pops on the dashboard that says this requires leadership. Someone needs to always be involved in this. And that's why you are the one who's living this vision. You are the one that's continually reminding about the vision. You're the one who is creative about the vision, and you're the one that is speaking clearly about it. So those are the 4 things that are going to help you paint a better picture. And on top of that, it's knowing who you are communicating with. Who are you inviting into this picture? And, you can't just say this is for everyone. Of course, mental health is for everyone. Good mental health should be for everyone. Being healthy physically should be for everyone. But not everyone is going to understand. One of the greatest books I've ever read, which I recommend people to read, is by John Maxwell. It's Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. And it's a great book. And so many people just talk. But the connection part is missing. It's missing in friendships. It's missing in business. It's missing in marriage. It's missing with children. Sometimes it's even missing with yourself, because you and I struggle sometimes with being clear, learning to be creative, being continuous about it and continually doing it, as well as living that vision. So I want to lay that into your lap. I want to put that into your world. And I want to encourage you to be a good steward of vision. To be a great leader of yourself, leading yourself, understanding that you're making decisions every day. But you also, if you're going to invite people into something, you must communicate the vision for this picture. And you want to paint people into it. Try it. Don't talk about what you see. Don't talk about what you've done. Paint people into a picture for a vision of a greater life. It could be as simple as, imagine if so-and-so. What would it look like if you could? Wouldn't it be great if you can see this realized? How awesome would it be if start painting people into the picture? I promise you it will not fail. You will have so much more support. You have so much more contribution, and there'll be a lot more joy in the journey. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for doing these little bits and moments of life with me. I wish you well. I wish you the best. And until next time, we'll talk soon.